Steel City. Is everybody ready to go? It's Proclaim the greatest radio show.
Welcome, fans, to The Spread. This is your guest host, Big Easy. We're doing part 2 of this Pirates segment. We broke them down hard in part 1.
Believe it.
What did we talk about?
We talked about the offseason moves they made. We talked about the offense and the defensive alignment currently and in the future. We talked about the offensive side of the 25-man roster, and we ended up talking about the lineup and how it's going to look with the loss of power from Pedro Alvarez and Neil Walker, and if the rest of the players in this lineup can pick it up a little bit and make up for that power. But we did a long hour-and-a-half segment. I'm still trying to upload it at this point. YouTube does not want to accept it. They can't handle my Pittsburgh Pirate knowledge, it seems like.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is senior fantasy baseball guru, Jay Dash. We also got JK47 in the studio with us. He's in depth on those Pirate statistics. He's digging it. He knows it's only 4 days away, so it's right around the corner. And it's going to snow. I believe it's going to snow that day also.
And did you see who's going to throw opening pitch?
I did. James Conner.
James Conner.
Shout out James Conner. What a great example for people. I mean, fortunately, you're already in the spotlight. You're an athlete, but
now he has cancer, correct?
Yeah, he had cancer, and he only has about 3 more chemo treatments, I heard, and he's doing well.
That's good to hear.
It is good to hear. And
always. He'll be throwing out first pitch.
Yeah.
Francisco Liriano will be throwing out the second pitch.
We'll get Frankie.
Yeah, Francisco Liriano. He's 32 years old.
That's why we're here.
Now.
We're going to break down this pitching staff because that's all we got left.
Yeah, we're going to break down the entire pitching staff, the starting rotation and the bullpen. And we're going to talk about the prospects as well.
Believe it.
And what the rotation could look like at some point this season.
So let's give us. We heard Frankie.
Well, do you want me to talk about him a little bit?
Well, just real quick. What's your 1, 2, 3 real quick right off the bat?
Well, it's going to be Francisco Liriano because Garrett Cole is injured right now. He has a rib injury, and it looks like he's going to pitch the first game of the second series, I believe, against the Reds. But Francisco Liriano, he really resurrected his career here in Pittsburgh. He actually had an ERA over 5 in 3 of his previous 4 seasons before joining the Pirates. His ERA in 3 seasons with Pittsburgh was 3.02, 3.38, and 3.38 from 2013 to 2015, respectively. Now, his walk rate has never been good because he throws out of the zone so much. He makes people chase the ball so much. He strikes out more than 1 batter per inning to make up for it as well. He had a career high 205 Ks last season.
Damn.
Yeah, like I said, he pitches out of the zone a ton, though, and we'll have to see because they shrunk the strike zone just a tiny bit this season. So I don't know if it's going to affect Liriano or not in any way. It's going to affect the pitchers to throw out of the zone more, I would have to believe. So we'll have to see what that means for Liriano. But look, he does nothing but win. The Pirates won 16 of his final 17 starts last season.
Damn.
Although they started the season winning just 1 of his first 8 starts.
Well, that's because every year they start with no offense.
They started real slow last year.
Every year.
Now, Liriano, his contract is up after the 2017 season. So we have 2 more seasons with Liriano still.
And JK, what do you think about that?
As long as he keeps striking people out, love it.
Yeah.
There's no doubt he's been a beast here the last 2 seasons.
3 seasons, really.
Yeah, 3 seasons.
His best season was actually his first season with the Pirates. I mean, he has some health issues as well, and he's a guy that when he's off his game, there might be a 5-start stretch where he's just getting lit up. But when he's on his game, he can pitch like an ace. I consider him more of a high-end number 2.
He's always been a number 2, probably.
For the Pirates, yes. Before that, I mean, he was hardly a number 5. I mean, at times, this guy had a ton of upside, but he was always had a good season and then a terrible season, a good season, then a terrible season.
So realistically, we're expecting another, 330, 310 ERA? Or
330 to 340, something like that would be fine.
See the same thing? You don't see a drop-off or an improvement
I mean, you could see a drop-off. He is 32 right now, so...
Well, he's in his prime.
Yeah, I mean, he's still in his prime.
Them pitchers can...
Yeah, they can pitch. They can last it a little longer than hitters can.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But then we'll talk about Garrett Cole here. This guy was kind of upset with the contract he was given, $541,000. Last year he made $531,000. And a lot of people were saying, look, the Pirates just don't pay their players. So I went deep into it and looked into every player and what their pre-arbitration numbers were in terms of contract and everything. And I'm not going to break this all down because there's a ton of stuff here. Let's just say he's not the highest paid ever and he's not the lowest paid ever. Someone like Xander Bogaerts, he's making more than him this season, but he just makes a little over $600,000. But look, Giancarlo Stanton, his final year before arbitration, which Cole was in right now, $480,000. Nolan Arenado, which was just recently, $512,000. Clayton Kershaw, $500,000. So it's just the way it is. If you're upset, you're upset at the way the MLB is set up. I would have to believe. Because, I mean, the Pirates ain't going to go out there and just give him $10 million this season for no reason.
Right.
I don't even think they're allowed to do that. By the way, the unions, signed the contracts and everything the last time they had their strike. But anyways, Garrett Cole, he went 19-8 last season, 208 innings pitched, allowed just 183 hits and 44 walks compared to 202 Ks, allowed just 11 home runs, had a 2.60 ERA and a 109 WHIP. He improved his walk rate drastically last year as well. Look, like I said, 44 walks in 208 innings. Look, in 2014, he had 40 walks in 138 innings. So that's really where he took the next step in his game. And he's still a young guy as well, so he has a lot more ahead of him as well. This isn't the peak of Garrett Cole. I'm not saying he's going to have definitely a better season this year, but he has better numbers ahead of him in the future. He's only 25 years old right now. He is going into arbitration next season, though, so he is going to get paid next year. I'd have to believe somewhere over $10 million, maybe like $12 million in his first year of arbitration. So he's going to get paid, and I don't think he's going to be signed after the 3 years of arbitration either, because, I mean, he's going to demand a giant contract. If he stays healthy, obviously.
Oh, definitely. I mean, this season last year, it was definitely the best season pitching-wise since Doug Drabek won the Cy Young Award back in 1990.
And I never even really went back and looked at those numbers. Was Drabek's numbers better?
Not better, but he won 22 games and he had something like a 2.76 ERA. I can't remember the exact strikeout totals, but they weren't bad either.
The one thing bad about Cole is that wild card game. He really did get, I wouldn't say lit up. Would they score 4 runs in that game, the Chicago Cubs? So he didn't get lit up, but he really didn't give the Pirates a chance to stay in that game early.
Hey, now.
He didn't. Remember Kyle Schwarber hit that huge jack?
Wasn't that later on in the ballgame, though?
Somebody hit a home run in the first inning, didn't they? It was like 2-0 in the first inning.
I can't remember. I'd have to.
Yeah, we'd have to go back and look, I guess.
I strike those memories down. Those losing memories. Well, to be honest, I was just, we don't even want to get into it. 20 years of watching her losing another game ain't going to bother me.
All right, let's move on to John Neese here. I know you hate this guy.
Dude's a punk.
All right, look, he's
garbage.
29 years old. He doesn't have overpowering stuff. You're right. He's more of a ground ball type pitcher. He's pitched at least 143 innings every year over the past 6 seasons, though, so he will eat up innings for you.
Ground Neese.
His strikeout numbers aren't great. His career whip is 136, which is at the edge of being bad. You know what I mean?
If someone don't know what whip is, explain it.
It's walks plus hits per inning pitched.
What does that mean?
That means in one inning, if you let up a walk and a hit, your whip is 2 at that point.
So what's a all-star whip?
Well, look, Garrett Cole had a 109 whip last season, and that's pretty beast. Something in the 120s is okay, you know what I mean? 136 is a little high. And look, last season, John Neese had a 4.13 ERA, which is number 5, good number 5 numbers.
Gorzelani numbers.
Always back to Gorzelani. He had 113 Ks
compared
to 44 walks in 176.2 innings pitched. It was actually a down season for him. If you look, his ERA from 2012 to 2014 was 3.40, 3.71, and 3.40 respectively. Now remember, we were talking about Francisco Liriano over the past 2 seasons. It was at 3.38.
Right.
So John Neese can give you number 3 type numbers when he's having a good season. And the way I've seen the Pirates resurrect these pitchers, I would expect at least something like a 3.40 to 3.50 ERA out of John Neese. Because let's face it,
that's asking a lot.
He's still right in the middle of his prime. Asking a lot, but it's been under 4 each of the past 3 seasons. So I think going from New York to Pittsburgh is going to help
Should be
in
easier.
a big way for him.
Should be easier, right?
I believe so. And look,
all you got to do is win a couple games, and this fan base will be all about it. All about you, too. People do Nice jerseys, like ground Nice.
Yeah, believe it.
People be rocking them.
They loved Grilly here in Pittsburgh out of nowhere. Remember that? Cheese.
Yeah.
Grilled cheese.
They made a sandwich for him.
But let's compare him.
Please.
Everyone's talking about how the Chicago Cubs rotation is so beast because they brought in John Lackey to go with Jake Arrieta and John Lester. But look, Lackey, he has a career 3.92 ERA. John Neese, 3.91. Lackey's 37 years old. Neese is 29. Lackey did have a 2.77 ERA last year, his best year of his career, really, at least over the past decade. And if you look over the past decade, since 2007, his ERA hasn't been any better than 3.52 outside of last season. Lackey's ERA from 2012 to 2014 was 6.41, 3.52, and 3.82, respectively. And the one thing about Lackey is he'll pitch more innings than John Neese. Lackey has gone over 200 innings multiple times in his career, whereas John Neese, I don't even think he's did that once. But again, he's pitched at least 187 innings twice in that span that I was talking about when he had that 3.40 ERA, 3.71, 3.40. So John Neese can eat up innings as well. And I think he can give you number 3 numbers. Just to be safe, I would call him a number 4 at this point, and I wouldn't expect anything worse than that from him.
Well, who's number 3 then?
Well, I mean,
if he's a 4.
They're kind of missing a number 3 right now until Tyler Glasnow or Jamison Tyone get called up. You also got Jeff Locke. He is going to be in the rotation this
on the
season.
roster, ladies and gentlemen. You know what? You should hang him up. I thought we were done with Locke, and then he makes the roster.
Well, look, he had a down year last season as well.
Sad. Just if he was a righty, he'd be gone.
Yeah, definitely. Well, look, he's teetering on the edge of being gone sometime soon as well. He'll be one of the first ones gone when someone does get called up, whether it be Glasnow or Tyone. But look, he had a down year last year, a 4.49 ERA in 168.1 innings pitched. In 2013, it was a 3.52 ERA. That was when he had the dominating first half and fell off. Right. But look, still, in 2014, it was 3.91. And I'll take that all day long from the back end of your rotation for real. Look, the Pirates went 16-14 in games Locke pitched last season. So they had a winning record with Locke last season. Not that he had a winning record, just the team when he pitched.
All right.
And I mean, out of your 5th starter, I'll take that all day long.
Yeah.
Now look, 2014, they were 12-9 when he pitched. 2013, they were 15-15 when he pitched. So over the last 3 seasons, they're 43-38 when your 5th starter pitches.
So that's why he's on the roster. Thank you.
Yeah, so I don't mind it. I'm still waiting for him to get pushed out of the rotation.
Well, yeah, he needs to be.
The biggest issue with him, getting into the 6th inning and getting out of the 6th inning.
Please believe.
You just want to see one more inning out of him, and then he's a great back end of the rotation type starter, in my opinion, if he can improve from last season. Last season was actually his worst season over the past 3 years. But again, his days are numbered.
JK,
he's going to be pushed out of the rotation at some point unless has a miraculous turnaround this season.
I think JK likes him though, right?
Nah, JK's rather indifferent. He just.
Well, that's all you have. Everything he just said, the statistics and the ERAs and all that. We're hating on Locke a little bit too much, aren't we?
Well, I mean, he is what he is. I mean, a back of the rotation type pitcher.
But I mean, he's a step up from Gorzolani and Fogg.
Believe it.
Oh, I mean, Gorzolani did have one good season.
Somewhere in that career, yes, he did.
I just love some of the old pitchers we had. Fogg, Gorzolani. Who else?
Jimmy Anderson.
Didn't we get Zach Duke?
All right, so we talked about Cole, Liriano, Neese, and Locke. Now there's one rotation spot left, and we thought it was going to be Nicasio over Locke. Now I'm hearing Vogelsong's spot is not guaranteed in this rotation at this point. They're still deciding between Nicasio and Vogelsong.
I was just listening to the fan on the way over here. They were saying that Nicasio is going to be the 5th starter.
I hope you're right. Well, I mean, they don't know everything.
Well, they said that Vogelsong's going to pitch out of the bullpen probably.
See, here's what I heard, though. Vogelsong does not want to pitch out of the bullpen. So if he doesn't, I'd just get rid of him. I mean, you really don't have too much money tied up
Last
in him
thing you want is a dude on a team
that doesn't want to do what he's doing.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Kick rocks.
Look, he's 38 years old. He was drafted by San Francisco. He made 17 appearances before going to the Pirates. He spent 4.5 seasons there. 4 full seasons with the Pirates, his ERA was over 6 3 times. It was 4.43 the other season. He went back to San Francisco for 5 seasons. And look, in 2011 and 2012, he had ERAs of 2.71 and 3.37. His ERA was 4 or above the last 3 seasons, though, and last year it was 4.67. He doesn't strike out a lot of people. He walked too many people last season, gave up too many hits. The Buccos did change his approach. They're telling him to pitch inside more often. They believe that's something he can do to improve. But really, at the age of 38, I know they have these resurrections of pitchers in Pittsburgh, but Vogelsong, man, I just don't think he can be one of them. I just don't think he has the stuff. Look, Liriano was one of them. He has good stuff, though. A.J. Burnett was one of them. He has good stuff. Volquez has good stuff. All these guys had more upside than Vogelsong ever did. Even J.A. Happ last season. They turned around Mark Melancon. Now, there's a guy that really... his upside came out of nowhere. I mean, he still doesn't throw high heat, and he's at the back end of the bullpen, but he's still a great closer for you. So I just don't see Ryan Vogelsong as one of those guys that they're going to be able to turn around.
I see them just, I don't know. I really don't. I didn't like it or understand this signing whatsoever whenever they made this. Like, really, what was the point?
Why?
I mean,
with all these pitchers, all these young pitchers?
I felt like it was a guy that wasn't going to be too expensive, that you could give a few starts to at the beginning of the season until you called one of your prospects up, because you don't want to go out and spend $15 million on a pitcher for a month until you call your, not that they're going to get called up in a month. It's probably going to be more like 2 or 2.5 months before they get called up. But you don't want to go spend a ton of money knowing a guy is going to be pushed out of a rotation as well.
Yeah, I guess.
But Juan Nicasio, I do want him in this rotation, man. He's 29 years old, 6'4", 250 pounds. He throws in the mid-90s. The Pirates have been extremely impressed with him in the spring here, and since bringing him in, actually. And if you look, I don't know if he pitched since then. I don't think he did. I think he still only pitched 15 innings, has 24 Ks compared to 5 walks, and allowed just 10 hits with no earned runs this spring. And it's not just the numbers that they like. It's the big fastball, and they're saying his secondary pitches have looked pretty good as well. If you look, he had a 3.86 ERA with more than 1 K per inning last season, but it was in a reliever role for the Dodgers. And when he was a starter, it was in Colorado. His ERA was over 5 in 4 seasons as a starter in Colorado.
Hasn't had an ERA over 5.
That's the thing. Now, that's the big question. What kind of pitcher is he? Is it what he showed in Colorado? It's so hard to pitch in Colorado. I'd have to believe it's going to improve somewhat, but I don't think he's going to do what he did in this spring necessarily, but he could be one of those guys that are one of those resurrection processes for the Pirates, because Nicasio does have some serious upside.
I'll agree. That was nice getting him, and let's make it work.
Yeah, put him in the rotation. Don't put him in the bullpen for now and then think about it later or whatnot. But Tyler Glasnow, we know this is the top prospect in the Pirates organization. We should see him this season. He's still only 22 years old. Last season between Double-A and Triple-A, a 2.39 ERA, 136 Ks compared to 43 walks in 109 innings, and just 77 hits. The walks are a little bit high, but when you look at his numbers in the minors, he always has a good walk rate, and then he'll get moved up a level, and he struggles. And then the next season, at the same level, the walk rate goes down. And then he gets called up, and the walk rate rises again. And then the next season, it'll go back down. So I think he's going to improve his walk rate in the AAA this season, get called up to the bigs, and not be dominant this season. He'll get caught up and his walk rate will be a little high. But again, Francisco Liriano's walk rate's high. It really doesn't affect him too much. Glasnow's that type of pitcher. He has a fastball that hits up. Well, he can hit triple digits. He sits in mid to high 90s. He has an excellent curve. His changeup is still improving at this point. I just think it's all about his command in AAA this season to see this guy's real limit to how good he can actually be. But at worst, I think they need him to pitch like a number 3 this season if they called him up, and I could definitely see that out of him.
Yeah, there's no reason not to expect him.
Yeah, definitely. I've been saying for years this guy's better than Garrett Cole. I shouldn't say it like that. He's going to be better than Garrett Cole. When he gets called up this season, Garrett Cole's still the ace on his staff. Glasnow got years until that happens. But Glasnow's stuff is better than Garrett Cole's. And this guy's huge. I think he's 6'7", 6'8". He's a giant.
Randy Johnson.
What do you think about Glasnow?
I'm excited.
Me too.
I can't wait to see him up here.
Throwing that heat.
Well, I mean, we took a huge chance not getting another starting pitcher on Glasnow getting up here this year, or even Taya also.
Yeah, I think the reason is you got 2 of them, so you only need one. If something happens to one of them, you still got the backup option in the other one as well. Jamison Taillon, like 47 said, we should see him this season as well. Hopefully we'll see both. If they're both healthy, we're going to see both of them. He's 24 years old now, and he missed all of 2014 with Tommy John surgery and all of 2015 with hernia surgery. So he's missed the last 2 seasons. Now, the reports on his health have been positive to this point. He has been throwing. He's thrown in the mid-90s, right where he did before Tommy John. So that's big, in my opinion. He has a power curve, a good changeup. Now, some people said he was an ace at one time. I thought maybe he could be. If you look at his career minor league numbers, I think he's going to be more of a number 2 type pitcher, a high-end number 2, something like Liriano can give you. But he's never really showed in the minors that he has that pure ace potential. I mean, he could even pitch like a number 1. I mean, we talk about this. Is he an ace or a number 1? I could see him as a number 1 even. I just don't think he's going to be that pure ace at any point.
Pure aces. They don't come along very often.
No, it's hard to find them.
It is.
We might have 2 in this rotation here if Glasnow can step it up before Garrett Cole leaves this organization.
Right.
One other guy we could see this season, or possibly 2 more guys. I don't think Nick Kingham we're going to see this season for any reason. He's returning from Tommy John surgery as well. They think he could be ready in May, actually, though. So there's a chance we could see him, maybe even in the bullpen at some point this season. Rehab on him, the reports have been positive as well. He throws 3 slightly above average pitches for strikes. He's more of a number 3 to number 5 for me, especially on the Pittsburgh Pirates, because he'll never crack that top 2 with how it's set up right now and looking in the future.
And what if he perseveres?
Yeah, last season, he had a 4.31 ERA in AAA in 31 innings pitched. He was ready for the major leagues, though, before he went down with Tommy John surgery. So I'm saying we will see him at some point this season in some form or another. I don't know if he's going to be a part of this rotation long-term or not, though, because they have a ton of good pitching prospects, along with some good guys here in the majors as well. And we'll have to see about Nicasio. He's only on a 1-year deal, though, Nicasio. So if he has a big year, he might go. I'd like to almost sign him 4 years on a cheap $20 million deal or something. And if it doesn't work out, you don't get completely burned. If it does work out, you're golden. I don't know. The other guy, though, Trevor Williams, the guy that we traded Jim Benedict for, he's ready for the bigs, it looks like. Between AAA and AA last season, he had a 3.85 ERA, 101 Ks compared to 43 walks and 131 innings. So the numbers aren't outstanding by any means, but he has a power sinker, an average slider, and an average changeup. I'm looking at him for this team, possibly a number 4 starter at some point, maybe a number 5, or he could be definitely a strong bullpen arm for him as well. But I want to see this guy.
A pen piece.
Could be, yes. I mean, some of these guys are either going to have to be dealt or moved to the pen at some point. Then there's a couple guys we're not going to see this season, but have some nice upside as well. In 2017, we'll probably see two guys if room opens up for them, Stephen Brault and Chad Call. Now, Brault, he's 23 years old. He was acquired in the Travis Snyder trade with the Orioles. 2.43 ERA last season between A advanced and AA, 125 Ks compared to 40 walks and 156 innings pitched. Now his fastball only hits up to 92 mile an hour right now. He has an average slider, an average changeup. He has good command though, and this is a guy they believe can eat up a ton of innings as well. I see him more of a number 3 at best, number 4 or 5 more likely as well. And Chad Call, he had a 2.48 ERA in AA last season, 101 Ks compared to 41 walks and 153 innings pitched. He throws a low 90 sinker, an average slider, an average change. I think he's more of a number 5 as well. But anybody in your system that can be in the rotation, number 5, it doesn't sound great or anything, but a good number 5 pitcher is also hard to find. I mean, there's a lot of teams that just don't have back end of the rotation pitchers because there's just not enough pitchers to go around in baseball.
None.
None. All right, two guys you should see in 2018. There's Stephen Tarpley. He's 23 years old. This guy I really like. He's a lefty. He was also acquired in the Orioles deal for Travis Snyder. So
we traded a bum and we got 2 pretty good pitchers.
Come on. You think Travis Snyder's a bum?
Yeah.
Hating.
Man, I don't hate him that much. I thought he was a good bench bat.
He was a great bench bat for the Pittsburgh
yes,
Pirates.
Man.
But that's it, saying you're a great bench bat for the Pittsburgh Pirates is kind of saying like you're the best.
You're the best hitter with Down syndrome.
Yeah, something like that. Like you're the
I understand how it is,
smartest
man,
person.
It's better than having bad bench bats, and you need those bench bats. Somebody's got to be on the bench. Yeah, that's not the bench bat I want. And that's David Freese to you, correct?
David Freese is 2016 Corey Hart.
There you go.
All day. You heard it first,
Mark
fans.
it down.
You heard it first.
But look, Stephen Tarpley, a 2.48 ERA in low A last season, 116 innings pitched, 105 Ks compared to just 25 walks. So this dude's control is excellent. He has a fastball that hits up to 95 mile an hour. He already has an above average breaking ball. I see this guy as possibly a low end number 2 or anywhere else in the rotation. I don't see anything higher than a low end number 2, but still I'll take that all day long, especially in a trade for Travis Snyder. And if we could get another guy that turns into a number 5, have 2 pitchers in your rotation that you got for Travis Snyder, I mean, that's a nice deal you made right there. But, I mean, we'll have to see over the next couple years how these guys pan out. And one last guy, Yidi Garcia. He's 23. He had a 2.10 ERA with 112 Ks compared to 41 walks and 124 innings pitched in low A last season. Allowed just 92 hits. His fastball hits up to 96 mile an hour. He has a slider with plus potential, and he does have a changeup, but he's still working on that right now. He actually dominated his first look at full season ball, and he could start to move through the system fast because he is 23 years old already. So we'll see how he does in the next level of ball, and if he does well, I could see him moving through a couple levels this season. At the very worst, though, I mean, I see this as a very good bullpen arm as well, something that could be at the back end of our bullpen in the future, if not a starter. But this guy, I mean, right now, the numbers he's shown and in the big fastball he has, it looks like he's going to be able to go in the rotation as well and be something at least the number 3 if he can keep these numbers up. But again, it's a little too early to tell with him still. But that's it. That's their best pitchers in the minor league system right now. But there's a lot of them.
Yeah. We just got to hope they pan out because they haven't.
But it's all about Tyler Glasnow and Jamison Taillon this year. We want to see Taillon pitch in AAA this season and see how he looks because he hasn't pitched in a long time. All right, so let's move on to the bullpen here. You got Melanson at closer. He had a 2.23 ERA last season, and that was actually his highest as a Pirate in 3 seasons. He had an 0.96 whip or better in each of those 3 seasons as a Pirate. 33 walks and 218.2 innings pitched with exactly 100 saves in that span. 33 walks and over 200 innings pitched. This dude's control is off the charts. Now, he is 31 years old, and he's making a ton of money this season. So I got a question. If you're winning games, could you justify dealing him? If you're winning games. Now, if you're losing games, you're all over trading Melancon.
Depends on what you can get for him, if it's going to help your team at all.
But do you trust the bullpen to be okay, just moving Watson to the 9th and maybe Feliz or Caminero, whoever's working the 7th, straight to the 8th and then the other to the 7th? Do you think that would still work out? Because
closer shouldn't be that big of a deal if you put up 5 runs a game. So
well, you're not probably going to have your closer in if you're up 5 runs in the game.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
If it depends, like JK said, if it depends what you can get. I don't care about a closer on a baseball team.
Well, he's been a huge part of why they're winning games, man. He was the best closer in baseball last season.
I understand that, but
that's why I thought they might try to deal him or something in the offseason.
The best closer on your team is probably the best trade bait too.
Yeah, but it's hard to justify when you're winning games though to let that guy go if he's dominating like he is.
If you're the Pittsburgh Pirates and you get better in return, it doesn't matter.
I get it.
That's my opinion.
I do like Watson as a future closer as well, but he is 30 years old already. He has 97 holds and 5 saves over the last 3 seasons. His ERA was under 2 each of the past 2 seasons. His career ERA is 2.46 with a 1.03 whip. This guy dominates as well. And I wouldn't mind him as a closer at all. Dealing a guy, let's say you're up 20 games over 500 in second place and making a push for the wild card, it's still hard to say that you should deal that guy, even if you do get a good return. Would it have to be a major league return, or is it okay if it's just prospects?
It'd have to be a major league, big time, right in the lineup deal.
Here's my thing: if we're gonna improve anything this year, I mean, we're gonna have to bring in a pitcher. I think at some point or another.
What do you mean, starting?
Starting pitcher, probably.
Yeah, starting pitcher, I would have to guess so.
Well, not if your boy Taylor Tylon and
Taylor Tylon.
Yeah, Taylor Tylon and what's the other guy's name?
Jameson Taillon and Tyler Glasnow.
Yeah, Tyler Tylon.
Tyler Tylon.
As long as Tyler Tylon show up, why do we need a pitcher?
Well, I think he's including them as one of the guys that we have to bring in. Am I correct on that, maybe?
Well, kind of. I mean, but what if Taylor's hurt? What if he can't?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, if both of them get hurt, then there's got to be someone else or something.
But, I mean, are you really going to be able to get, like, a decent starting pitcher for him? And who's going to want to give up a decent starting pitcher for a closer? It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, no one's going to trade a starting pitcher for a closer.
Yeah, it'd be hard.
I mean, you might be able to get a minor league prospect or two for him, a couple decent ones, but...
Yeah, well, just look what Ken Giles brought in return for the Philadelphia Phillies this season, man.
But Houston also had prospects to burn, too.
And Ken Giles is a lot younger than Melancon as well and has the big heater. Has the high strikeout rate. Melancon really doesn't have that high strikeout rate. There's nothing fancy about his game necessarily.
Nope.
But either way, if something happened to Melancon, Watson in the 9th inning, I'm fine with it. And Neftali Feliz, a guy they brought in this season, we mentioned in the first segment, he should be pitching in the 6th or 7th inning. I'm not quite sure yet. It looks like he's going to pitch in the 7th inning and be in a setup role. He's 27 years old still, so he's not an old guy or anything. His ERA was over 3 once before last season. It was a miserable year for him. 6.38 ERA and 48 appearances. Now in 2014, it was 1.99 with an 0.98 whip, and he had 13 saves as well. His career ERA is 3.17 with a 1.10 whip, and he has 97 career saves as well. So this guy can pitch in the closer's role as well if it came down to it. And he has 265 Ks and 289.2 career innings pitched. So he has a pretty solid strikeout rate as well, although it isn't over 1 per inning. But, yeah, he had the terrible season last year. I fully expect him to be one of those. I won't even call it a resurrection process for this Pirates, for Ray Searidge and this Pirates pitching staff or whatever. I think Feliz is just a good pitcher, and he had a down year last year.
Yeah, I dig it.
47?
If he can get back to his pre-injury form, that'll be a steal for this team.
He did cost them $3 million or something like that, so they're paying a good bit of money for his arm as well. So we do need him to pitch better than he did last season.
Oh, without question.
And Archimedes Caminero. Is that how you say it? I can't even remember. Archimedes?
Archimedes something.
Wait.
Archimedes?
Armadeus.
No, you said the first part right, but the last part wrong.
Archimedes.
Yeah, that might be like Matus.
Archimedes Caminero. Can't even remember. It's been a while.
Cuba.
Again, if Feliz isn't pitching the 7th inning, it's probably going to be Caminero, but it looks like Feliz at this point. So I'm saying Caminero would be your 6th inning guy if you need him there.
Big time heat, this guy.
Yeah, they brought him over from the Marlins last season. So last season was actually his rookie year because he only pitched 19.2 innings between 2 seasons with the Marlins. So what we seen out of Caminero last year was really his full taste in the big leagues. He had a 3.62 ERA, a 1.23 WHIP, 73 Ks compared to 29 walks and 74.2 innings pitched, and allowed just 63 hits. So it was a solid season from him. And we were thinking at one point last season, this guy is going to be a future closer as well because he has that big heat that 47 was talking about. In fact, he can hit triple digits as well, and he throws in the upper 90s. So again, that could be a future closer for you. So there's 4 guys on the staff that I think could close for you.
It's all going to hinge on what Feliz does this year, I think. And Caminero, is he going to improve at all? I mean, he showed last year also with that big fastball, he has a little bit of command issues also. So, I mean, if he could refine himself as far as command and consistency, you could be looking at a dominant bullpen arm even more so than last year. And there were times last year I just watched him completely blow away hitters.
Believe it. And how about Jared Hughes? We like this guy as well, right?
Yeah, he's goofy.
Yeah, he's a goofy-looking dude, but he gets his job done. Look, he had a 2.28 ERA in 67 innings last season. In 2014, a 1.96 ERA in 64.1 innings. He doesn't strike out a ton of batters, but he has great control. He'll pitch in lower leverage situations as well this season because of how deep they are. This guy has got it done for him, and bringing him in the 5th inning when Jeff Locke gets knocked out of the game or whatever,
right?
That's not bad at all.
No, it's serviceable.
He doesn't allow very many base runners to score, He's very good with inherited runners.
Yeah, that too.
And he sprints to the mound.
Well, I mean,
he stares him down on the mound.
He tends to keep the ball low, too. So, I mean, he's a ground ball friendly pitcher. It depends on his infield a lot. I mean, whenever that happens, I mean, you're not going to allow very many of those runners to score.
Right.
He actually has a strained lat muscle right now, and his opening day status is in question a little bit. There's no indication he'll go on the DL at this point, though. We talked about Juan Nicasio. If he doesn't make it into the rotation, he'd be the long reliever in the bullpen. But really, I think he could be at the back end of the bullpen the way he pitched this spring. Although, you got to temper expectations with the spring. I know 47 said it many times. Yeah, you can't go by what happens in the spring and expect it in the regular season. But how about Corey Luebke? This guy, it looks like he is going to make the team. He had Tommy John surgery in May of 2012, but it was a crank operation. He actually had to go under the knife again, another operation in February 2014. He had some crap in his elbow removed around a nerve in his forearm last season and then had a staph infection for 6 weeks after surgery ended his season.
Tough break.
Yeah, this guy has had tough breaks in his career.
Tell you what, though, I mean, he had absolutely eye-popping stuff, though.
When he first came into the league?
Absolutely. I mean, all signs from spring, too, were indicating that fastball's still there, too. So.
Yeah, he was hitting 94. His slider was clocking around 87 mile an hour. He said he's okay to start the season as a reliever, but he really wants to start again, and that's really where I want him as well at some point, especially if something happens to some of our other pitchers here. I'm telling you, Corey Luebke, like 47 said, when he came into the league, he dominated his first year and a couple starts into his second year before he went down and really has never pitched again. And that's why the Pirates signed him to a minor league contract, bring him in, see what he has. And he showed he really has the same, not necessarily the same stuff he had then, but I mean, his heater's right back where it was then. He was never a guy that hit 99 on the gun or anything. And like we remember, I was saying in the first segment, he had an opt-out clause on Tuesday if the Pirates didn't put him on the roster, and he didn't opt out, so he is going to be on this roster. A couple other guys here. Kyle Lobstein, a guy that pitched pretty well this spring as well. He's 26. He's a lefty. He was a former starter. He can throw multiple innings for you, so he could be the long reliever as well. He had a 5.94 ERA, though, mostly as a starter with Detroit last season. He has only 103 innings pitched as a major leaguer, though, and they're not sure yet if he'll make the team, obviously, but I'd like him to stay on his team. And looking at his age, I don't know if he has options left or not, but I really would have to believe he does, just considering he's 26 years old. So maybe he has an option. They'll put him in the minors, and if they need him later this season, they can call him up. So it's just another option for the season if there's some injuries or something. But I think Cal Opstein looked pretty good as well, and I hope somehow he does stay in the system. They did option Trey Haley. He's 25 years old. He's a former second-round pick of the Cleveland Indians. Had a 2.45 ERA between AA and AAA last season. Still got to work on his control a little bit, so he'll start in the minor leagues. They optioned Rob Scahill. We remember him from last season. He's 29, had a 2.64 ERA last season. It wasn't terrible in 30.2 innings pitched. I'm not too high on that guy either, though, so he'll start in the minor leagues. I didn't know that guy had options left either, but he apparently does. And Daniel Bard, he's 30 years old. He was actually one of the best setup men in baseball in 2010 and 2011 with the Red Sox. In 2010, he had a 1.93 ERA and struck out 76 batters in 74 innings. So you can see he was a good pitcher, but I don't think he's
6 years ago.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to make this team. I just don't see a way. There's no way he has options left unless nobody wants to sign him and the Pirates can just put him in the minor leagues. So let's take a look at the pitchers on the 25-man roster. You're going to have 12 total. The pitching staff, it looks like it's going to be Cole, Liriano, Neese, Locke, and either Nicasio or Vogelsong. So you got 5 there. I'm hoping it's Nicasio.
That's the word that they're given. It's going to be Nicasio.
Okay, but where's the room for Vogelsong then, is my question.
He's going to pitch out of the bullpen.
I get it. I'd rather, well, I guess since I said Cal Opstein does have options left, I would believe he does, that Vogelsong could fit as a long reliever in this bullpen. But you'd have Melanson, Watson, Feliz, and Caminero, and then Hughes and Lupke's going to make this team, so you'd have that open spot for Vogelsong. So that's your 12 pitchers to start the season. Plus, like I said, you have Lobstein, Haley, and Scahill in the minor leagues as well. But there's some in-season call-ups as well. Like we said, Tyler Glasnow and Jamison Taillon. Who are your first 2 out there? Let's say Vogelsong starts in the bullpen. Obviously, Locke's going to be your first one out. It's going to be between Neese and Nicasio, who would be the next one out if you were to call the second one up between Glasnow and Taillon.
Just whoever ain't doing work. Simple as that.
Yeah, who do you believe that's going to be there? Do you think Neese or Nicasio? I mean, Neese is making $10 million this year. It's really going to be hard for the Pirates to cut him and pay him that $10 million.
They'll never do that.
That's why it's going to be tough. Like,
Yeah. Well,
what if
it's not
Nicasio?
tough. Nice is there.
Okay, what if Nicasio pitches great?
Don't matter.
It doesn't. See, I don't know. What would you?
I disagree.
Don't make Nicasio
you gotta
freaking
keep,
7th inning guy.
You got to stay with your hot hand. I mean, even if necessary, go with that 6-man rotation. Give those young guys an
That's a
extra day
possibility.
rest.
I know teams don't like to do it, but if you got good pitchers from top to bottom, it's
think
not
of it
as
this
bad.
way: maybe pitch Garrett Cole every 5 days, but with the rest of
Yes.
them, you can rotate 5 other guys possibly.
I'd say Cole and Liriano, really, though. I'd pitch both of them every 5 days and then switch around with the other ones. But if Nicasio and Neese pitch, well, even if Neese, if Neese gives you number 5 numbers, I'd have to believe he'd stay in this rotation just because of how much he's making. And Locke, I expect him to go. So there's room for one. And we forgot about Trevor Williams as well. He's about ready for the bigs. Maybe they end up dealing him or something. Maybe they made that trade with Jim Benedict for Trevor Williams just to have a piece for later in this season to deal. I don't know. And then a relief pitcher that could get called up, John Holtzcomb. Remember him?
Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bigfoot. That dude looked pretty good a couple years ago when they called him up, and I was actually thinking maybe he was a future closer or something.
Yeah.
We'll have to see if he even pitches for him, though. I thought he'd get some time last season, but they made a bunch of deals and beefed up that bullpen, so they never really needed him. So I don't know if he's ever going to be a part of this bullpen as a main piece or not. But here's what I'm looking at for a potential rotation this season. We were just talking about it. There's Cole, Liriano, Glasnow, and Taillon would be your top 4. Hopefully. This is all potentially. But then you got Nicasio, Lupke, Neese, and Trevor Williams, all as options as well for that 5th spot. And like I said, Nicasio could end up being a stud for him. Not necessarily Liriano-type stud that they turned around, but even if it's a number 3 type pitcher. And then Lupke's a guy I think has a ton of upside still. And Nice, like I said, they're going to be paying him a good bit of money this season, so it's going to be hard to get rid of him as well. So I think they have options. I know it doesn't look great to start the season. I will say that. So we'll have to see how the season starts off or whatever. But as the season rolls along, man, this rotation could look, I mean, this is starting to remind me of the New York Mets because their rotation piece by piece got better and better just because of what they called up through their system.
Well, I mean, Glasnow definitely has the pedigree to be like Noah Syndergaard.
Yes. And Cole's already like Noah Syndergaard. I mean, Noah Syndergaard, I should say, is already like Garrett Cole, it seems like. Noah Syndergaard's a beast.
Well, with all that said...
Yes, let's go over win projection here.
That's it. Where do you see the Pittsburgh Pirates ending up this year?
Well, I said it before. I said the Cardinals were going to take first. We did the Cubs segment. I said they were going to take third. So I'm going to put the Pirates in second place. And I said the Cubs are going to win 92 games, right? Something like that. Mm-hmm. I think it's going to be real close. So I'm going to say the Pirates win 93 games, 5 less than last season.
And make a wild card or no?
See, that's tough.
Because the rest of the National, if we were in the AL, we'd have a wild card or a division.
I mean, the AL has good teams throughout. The NL just has top-heavy teams, you know what I mean? So it's going to be tough for Pittsburgh. I'm not going to sit here and say they definitely make the playoffs, but I think they have a great shot to. I'm going to say no, though.
JK.
Well, there's no question about it. They downgraded a little bit. I mean, whenever they went from Pedro Alvarez to John Jaso. I mean, not that I'm hating on Jaso, don't get me wrong. I think he's going to be a solid player for them. I just think the loss of power, I think, is just going to be difficult to replace. The pitching staff,
To start off, like he said, it's going to be rough.
Well, I don't think this is going to be a bad team this year. I mean, they are going to be good. They still got some very, very good pieces in place. I think they're going to take a slight step back this year. I'm going to say they're going to top out at about...
Is it all because of the rotation?
Well, some of it. Maybe like 70% of it.
Because you did say in our last segment they're going to hit more home runs this season.
Well, I do think they're going to hit more home runs this season, but I just think the starting pitching is going to be a little bit deficient to start it out. Or at least for the first couple months of the season until Glasnow and Taylor are ready to come up.
I tell you what, Kutch getting off to a better start at the beginning of the season could really go a long way in the end.
Oh, without question. I mean, this team was awful last year to start the season. It ended up costing them the division. I mean, there's numerous things.
Yeah, I mean, you could say that, or you could say the Cardinals kind of won the division almost in the beginning because they went on that historic run to open the season. So it was kind of tough. With the Pirates, a little bit of a slow start for them. I wouldn't say they were completely horrible. I mean, they were playing a little under 500, which is bad compared to what we want to see. But the way the St. Louis Cardinals, what were they, like 40-something and 10 at one point, or 12? It was ridiculous what the Cardinals did. And they tailed off towards the end, but they were still winning games late and were able to keep that huge lead they got early in the season.
But, you look at the Pirates, though. I think they stack very evenly against the Cardinals.
I do, too.
I think very identical with how they're built, how they play their games.
Yeah, great bullpens, built for more of on base rather than just hitting the ball over the fence.
I picked St. Louis to go second in this division. I picked Chicago to go first, which makes the Pirates my third-place team. I think they're going to top out at about 87 wins. I could definitely see them getting to 90 if the things work out, if the pitching works out, if the offense gets better. I mean, they actually haven't had the greatest spring in the world this season.
Neither have the Cubs, though. So, I mean, it's hard to look at it that way.
But, I mean, this is a team I can see winning 94 games. This is a team I can see winning 85.
And
definitely.
But I'll give them 88. I'll cut that down the middle and give them 88 wins.
I just think that, I mean, I can't take the benefit of the doubt away from the Cardinals until they take it from the Cardinals and finish ahead of them.
Of course.
Yeah.
Which is another one of my prime motivations of taking them in third place.
Because you think the Cubs, it doesn't matter. They'll just roll heads.
Cubs just rolling heads. They got the money. They got the young talent.
I think
they got the ballers. Cubs got ballers.
I think they're
going
to take
a step back. We have one baller. One step back and 18 steps forward.
Arrieta hasn't pitched well, by the way, but he did have a blister this spring, but he was getting lit up early.
So Dash says second place.
Second place and 2 third place.
because it's just until we take it, it ain't ours. And we haven't. And honestly, I told you this before. We haven't done nothing yet anyway. One measly ass wild card win, and then couldn't take it up 2-1 in the series against Cardinals anyway. So
that's another thing I wanted to ask you, Easy. You were talking about yesterday about how the Pirates went on the first season and then fell back from there. Yeah, you don't see the Cubs the same way, doing their best the first season and then taking a small step back?
No. They didn't get – the Pirates in their first little year of breakout didn't get, one series away from the World Series. It was just – I mean, they were that close. They're going to want it. They're just going to want it even more.
So are the Cubs the World Series champions? Is that what you're saying?
I'm not going to make a World Series prediction yet at all. I can't. I don't.
How about you, 47? You want to make a World Series prediction?
I don't play
Texas
games.
and New York.
Texas and New York, huh?
What do you mean, the New York Mets?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Please.
I don't know, man. I like the way the Mets look this year.
Garbage.
I'm going to say the Boston Red Sox and the Washington Nationals.
Bold predictions. You heard it here first. One of us will be right or wrong, or possibly all of us. Who knows?
Oh, yeah, we'll both be wrong. Don't worry.
Believe it. Well, fans, that's going to wrap us up for this Pittsburgh Pirate preseason breakdown and generally the whole MLB breakdown. We loved it. We love you. You want to comment and hit us up on Twitter. Go to that Facebook page.
Facebook.com/betthespread, YouTube.com/betthespread. What's Twitter? Did you already give it? @bet_the_spread. There's
it.
@betJimTheWin if you want to hit Jim up personally.
Tell him how much the Pittsburgh Pirates suck.
And I got that porn site going.
He enjoys it. And do not forget www.baseballinsideher.com. Peace.